Excuse me.
Jesus Christ. What the frick was that?
And we're back with another episode of The Raw Lens with your host, Lionheart. And today we have joining us Miss Sara B. She's one of the well-known cinematographers in our community. She's also worked with the legendary Ray Roman. Respect. And today she will give us a glimpse of what it's like in the day-to-day life of an entrepreneur of cinematography. Sara B., welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So what inspired you to be a videographer in the community?
So my father, who was also taught by his father, bought me my first camera when I was 9. And so I started vlogging the trees and everything when I was 9 years old of my 9-year-old life. And he also taught me at that time how to edit on Premiere Pro because there really wasn't anything else to do. So I had fun editing the stock videos of the horses on Premiere Pro. And it wasn't until I was 14 that he started taking me to work with him. So I was 14.
So that makes you have like about 10 years experience in the field, right?
Yeah, well, I'm 25 now. Seriously working like my butt off for a wedding, I would say I started at 16.
I'm an admirer of your work. You have very creative, unique styles.
Thank you. I love your work as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So speaking of unique styles, how did you come up and develop your own unique styles?
Well, I would say it all comes from the music for me. I'm a huge listener of music, and for me, video is all about music.
Oh, you're also a musician, right? Or you're a singer?
Yes, I'm a singer, and I played in the jazz band in high school. So I love music, and for me, it's all about the visuals to the music. So once I listen to a specific song, I get the visuals for it, which is my name is Visuals by Sara.
Isn't it Visuals by Zara?
which is why my name is Visuals by Zara on Instagram. So really it is the visuals for me based on the song. So once I see a song, I get inspired and I will replay the visuals in my head until we can create it to life. That is how I get inspired.
What's one thing about being a videographer that people don't realize?
I think people don't understand that you're not just a videographer. You have to be well-versed in composition, storytelling, lighting, sound design, and directing your subjects. So you have to be well-versed in all of those to be a good filmmaker, in my opinion.
Of course, you got to tell them what to do, you got to make sure that, they have their good side is not messed up,
Yeah, you have to pay attention to many different details all at once at the same time. And it's a lot on a person. So I understand why it's very difficult to do that. And especially lighting as well. You have to be a pro at lighting in order to have nice photos and videos. And that's also something to learn in and of itself.
Of course. We're always learning every single day. In this business, you never stop learning. You always just improve.
Amen.
Can you share behind the scenes of a story of a particular shoot that you had?
Absolutely. I would say I learned a lot when I worked with Ray for the first time.
Oh, how was that experience like?
It was absolutely a great, phenomenal experience. I'm very grateful to have it. What I learned when I went to work there, which really took me by shock, was the fact that he would take steady shots with the tripod, while what I used to do was always use a slider or always use a gimbal and always have motion in my video. But what I realized is that there's beauty in just setting down a tripod and letting your subject be the beauty and work for itself.
Yeah, let the subject just do its thing, right?
Yeah, and I used to never do that. I used to work twice, double as hard, and I don't think it came out half as good. So now I work less, but I like my shots more.
It's all about placement.
Yeah, and I didn't know that, and learning that was a huge bonus for me. And another story that I have of a memorable or challenging shoot, it was with my father when he took me to Colorado to film a bar mitzvah clip, which I did. I filmed and I edited, which in 2 days, and it was called the Colorado Heist. And it was my first time working with prime lenses, like my dad.
I think I remember that video, the Colorado
Really?
Heist.
You watched that?
Yeah, I watched
Really?
it. Yeah, it was a while back.
Oh my God, I was 16. It was a very long time ago. It was my first time working with prime lenses. My father taught me how to use them. And I remember I was so excited to do this one scene, and I'll never forget it because it's burned in my memory, because I was trying to take a scene of the father speaking to his son. And I put on the 50, and I was working with it, and I loved the shot. And then at the end, I realized that my f-stop was at 2.8. That traumatized me. to this day.
Well, why 2.8? Okay, well, it's supposed to be like 1.4 or something.
Because I knew how good it could be. And I let it, like it didn't let it have its full value. And ever since then, I was like, I beat myself up for it. And now it was so memorable that every time I use a prime lens, I always open it up to the. So
what she's saying, for the audience that doesn't know what prime lenses are, it's basically, how you have blurry in the background from the subject. That's what she means by prime lenses. It's basically the lower the number, the better the blur it is, just for the audience to understand.
Yes, and I was upset that I didn't do it fully. But regardless, I will never forget that day because it burned a memory in my mind that now every time I use a prime lens, I have to open it.
All the way.
All the way. Because, what's the point? I mean, in my opinion, what's the point? That's just my opinion. And also, I took, a super cool drone shot of that day where I crashed my drone into the rim of his Audi while he was driving. It didn't break, and I got the coolest shot ever.
Oh, my God. Drones. If only, I've lost so many drones, more than my fingers can count. It's...
Sorry, I feel bad for him. Sorry.
Yeah, it's never ending when you have a drone, it doesn't matter. It's not even faulty. It's like, I remember my first drone was the Phantom 3, I think. It was going way back in the days.
The white one.
The white one. I had it for 4 or 5 events, but the first time I just crashed it into a building because back then the drones didn't have back sensors. So what are the unexpected challenges you face while filming at an event or in general?
Troubleshooting. I didn't know that troubleshooting would be 70% of my job. With Premiere Pro, at least. Sometimes your light just doesn't turn on.
So it's post-production, most likely.
Sometimes, but also it's your drone just won't go up. What is that?
Well, it depends where you fly it. You gotta, there's a lot of restrictions and rules when you're flying a drone. Depends where you are. If you're next to an airport, it's not gonna lift off. A lot of people, they always ask me, why you don't lift up your drone in a venue? Well, because it doesn't let me. Literally, the satellite connects to the drone when you turn it on. People don't understand that.
Right. So I guess you're as good as your gear, because if your gear isn't working properly, you can't take the shot. Lots of times when you buy a battery and then the temperature is weird and the battery will die earlier than it should have. And that's something that we need to be aware of as filmmakers, things that I didn't expect that I would run into. I didn't expect the fact that maybe, your SD card can just crash on you, or your
backups.
Your hard drive can just crash on you. God forbid.
I think that's the worst nightmare for any content creator, when you lose footage like that.
And when you're going into it, you never really think these things will happen to you until you run into them, which is like that with any business. So troubleshooting. But I find that I enjoy troubleshooting now, because it's ooh, how can I solve this problem? And then when you solve it, you feel so good. You're I did that.
Yeah, only for a few seconds, but...
Well, you gotta, stay in that gratification. It feels so good.
Say it louder. Say it louder.
Nest it before you warp stabilize a video that's 50% speed.
How do you prepare for a shoot? What is the step-by-step process in preparing for a shoot? Because I know it's an all-day process. You work from 16-hour shifts. So how do you prepare for that mentally and physically?
The way I prepare for an engagement shoot or an engagement video is I listen to the song over and over again. Same thing with the wedding, because I know how I want the film to look. So it's all about music for me. It always has been. It always will be. Preparing for a wedding is very nerve-wracking, and it bothers me for weeks before the event, especially when you're on top of everything, because you are your team. So if someone on your team does something and everything, sometimes it's an accident, that's your fault, basically, what the client will tell you. Mm-hmm. So the way I prepare for it is I just make sure I write everything down on my notes app and I check everything off. I'm constantly going through it in my mind, and I do this thing in the morning. Preparing for a wedding, right?
Mentally.
You have to get up at very early hours in the morning. And so what I do is I do the Superman pose while I brush my teeth. And I'll be like in the mirror, I'll be like, I can do this. I'm like, I can do this. And then the night that and then while I go to sleep that night, I'm like, thank you for blessing me with this opportunity. I'm going to do the best job I ever done. It's only going to get better. And I gave a lot of thanks to God. I'm very grateful, And then in the morning, I'm like, Modéani. I'm like, thank you, God, for waking me up this morning so that I could do a beautiful job today. And I always stay grateful. I'm like, I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I'm going to do the best job I ever did in my life today. Today is the day. And then I'll do the Superman pose.
Oh my God.
That's how I prepare.
Looking like a little kid brushing your teeth.
And my eyes, I can't even see in the morning because my eyes are so dry. and I don't have I'm negative 650 vision, but still I'm like, it's like chest back, shoulders back, and then I'll be like in the mirror, and I like pretend I'm like, I did the best job I ever did, and it was like the morning of. So like I'll try to do affirmations. I'll try to like mentally be delusional about it.
Are you Delulu?
I'm Delulu. I'm the most Delulu.
So, next question. Let's say that you're in a rut somehow, and how do you get out of a creative block?
That's a great question, Leon. Thank you for such an insightful question. I believe that people get into blocks when they don't challenge themselves and when they stay in their comfortable position. So if I find that I'm in a block, firstly, I don't force it. I don't force myself out of it. I just let it ride. And then I try to challenge myself. If it's lingering for too long, I will put myself in an uncomfortable situation where I know that it will grow me, although it will be uncomfortable, but it will be helpful for me. So once I become uncomfortable, I will get out of that block personally.
Not always good to be in your comfort zone because success wasn't created being comfortable.
Yeah, it's like if we never learned how to tie our shoes and we had to use brain power for it, we would be tripping around everywhere in the floor.
Exactly. That's how you progress as an individual and an entrepreneur. You must always fail in order to succeed.
Yes, and it's not natural because we're not born that way.
We're not. We have to have stepping stones. We have to always go through hardships. We have to go through failures. You know, everything we do in life is about failures. That's how only you grow as a person.
But I mean that humans want to be comfortable. That's what we're wired to do.
Yeah, well, we're wired to be comfortable. Yes, we are. But where does that benefit the person in the long run? Where? The more comfortable you are, you don't have opportunities to make yourself greater as a person.
100%.
What's your favorite part about the videography process? Is it either the filming, the editing, the shooting, the preparing for everything? What is your favorite part about the whole process?
I believe if the lighting is on point and the subjects are great, then filming will be my favorite part. And if it's something that I didn't like to film, I won't want to edit it.
Good point. No, I agree with you because sometimes, like, when you have to go to a shoot and you don't have the necessary equipment at the time for some whatever reason that you don't have it to film, you just don't have the motivation to film. The motivation is there when you have all the creative tools to make good art.
Right. That's why I stopped taking jobs that didn't fulfill me creatively, because I knew I didn't want to work on it. When it's something that I filmed and I'm really happy with it, then editing will be my favorite part because I finally bring the vision to life with the song that I thought about it with.
What's the most rewarding part about being a videographer?
Making something out of nothing.
Oh, that's a good one.
Being able to bring a vision to life, making people happy with it, bringing them to tears. You can make an emotional video, a happy video, an editorial video, and just being able to create it out of nothing and then watch it, it's very fulfilling feeling.
What advice would you give to aspiring videographers in the industry?
Learn sound design.
Yes, sound design is very important because, if you can hear art, you can see art. Hearing is more important than seeing art.
You ever watch that meme where it's like a movie without the song?
A movie without the song?
And it's like the movie scene plays, but the song, like the iconic sound,
it gives you emotion.
Isn't there?
The sound gives you emotion because when you have a visual but you don't have musical sound to it, like notes, it throws you off because you don't know what to feel. And that's what I agree with. I feel like sound design is very important.
That's why I like watching Harry Potter, because when Hagrid steps on the rocks, it's just so satisfying. Do you ever watch a movie because of the ASMR in it?
No, I do. Yeah, I do watch some movies with ASMR. Yes.
Yeah, like lighting and sound design. I didn't know that until 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and that's how you can see like my work skyrocketed after that. Like,
of course,
there's one thing that you need to know.
Especially, it comes in handy when you're a musician.
Yeah. If I wasn't like musically inclined, I don't think I would ever do this.
So we have a very, very good question here that you might like. What is your dream project or client?
My dream project would be to make a music video for myself. So I will be my dream client. Will you help me film it?
Of course. I'm an expert in music videos. So definitely I will help you film that.
Thank you, Leon.
No problem. All right. We have reached the truth or shot round. The truth or shot round is where if the guest refuses to answer the question, they take a shot. What's the most embarrassing thing that happened to you on a shoot?
Let's get that shot.
Ah, there we go. All right. I know it's very hard to answer that. That's one big shot. Cheers.
Do you get it? Shot.
Come on, drink up.
Okay.
You want? I'll join you. Here we go. How you feeling? All right. So we decided to skip that question. Okay. Remember, if you do not wish to tell the truth, you take the shot. So it's up to you. Have you ever had to turn down a client? If so, then why?
Yes, many times, unfortunately. I will turn it down if it doesn't push me creatively at this point. Before I used to do a lot of it, even if it didn't push me creatively, just because I wanted to make money. But now I realize that you will make money twice as hard if you don't enjoy it. So I only take a job if it has at least 2 of the 3 following. 1, if it will push me creatively. 2, if it will pay me what I believe it's worth. And 3, if it will market me. And if it has 2 of the 3, then I will take it. Also, if I'm not interested in the job, I know it will rot on my hard drive. So I might as well just hand it over to the next person, because I know I'm not going to treat that client with the best respect that I should because of my own problems.
Yeah, so it's being very selective, because if you see potential in this shoot, then you'll take it.
I really care for people, and especially anyone that wants to come to me as a client. And if I know that I'm not the best match for you, then I won't take it. Especially with big weddings. If I see that they're, they want to pay the price, but they're not really interested in the way that I edit. They just want a good videographer. Then I'm maybe I'm not the right match for you. I like to have a personal connection with my clients, and I befriend all of them.
Have you ever had to reshoot a project because of your mistake?
Did I ever reshoot something? I also forget a lot of jobs. They're lost in my memory. I've had a lot of people come up to me and be like, "You shot my wedding." And I was like, "Oh." I don't remember them, unfortunately. And they're so nice and they're so sweet. And I'm like, how did I not remember her? But if they're from my company, I'll remember. But if it was from when I was a freelancer, then everyone was the same. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I get a lot like that sometimes.
With full respect, of course.
Yeah, of course. Listen, us both, we film a lot of weddings throughout the year, a lot of projects, and we can't really memorize all the people that we work with. I always have people come up to me and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. I love all the people that interact with me, but sometimes if I don't know you, I'm still going to pretend like I know you. And I'm just going to be if you give me a high five or something, come up, okay, yeah, hey, what's up? How are you? I'll pretend like I know you, but I really don't remember you.
It's okay. Everyone does that. It's okay. Don't feel bad about it.
I feel bad sometimes. I'm I want to remember the person, but because I shot so many, it's I don't remember you.
It gets lost in your brain.
It does, because you're also worried about all the other factors, how'd you do on the job? How did you, film? What did they think about? It's not even that. It's about all the other people that you shot for. You have so many things going through your mind. You can't really remember everybody.
I think it's also worth it to mention that everyone doesn't see what happens post-production, when you take everything home and start to edit it.
Oh yeah, no, you know what it is also about post-production? People ask me sometimes, if I'm going to be freelancing at a wedding, so when am I going to get my video? And I just sarcastically say tomorrow. They think it's when you come home, you press a button, boom, done. It doesn't work that way. It requires at least 8 months for a wedding like that to be completed.
Something happened to me and it really hurt my feelings.
Please share.
I edited a wedding, and how when you have the dance floor part and people in our community, the dance floor, the party, the reception. And people in our community, they want the full 3 to 4 hours of it happening. And so you take the 3 different angles, you synchronize it to the audio, and you sit there for longer than 4 hours and you edit it through the 3 cameras. So I did that, like any other job I would do, and I gave it to the client and we watched it together, and they were like, oh, I see, you just didn't edit any of it. It hurt me because I worked so hard and so long only to think that they didn't edit it because I didn't put like cross dissolves between, like I didn't put transitions between each shot, which like I don't do because it's not documentary style in my opinion.
Yeah, like every single type of shoot has its own unique editing style. Just because you want a specific editing style doesn't mean it's the right way to do it. There's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. Unfortunately, in this business, the client has to be right, but as well, the content creator also has the right to speak their mind and to give the professional opinion of what they think and how it could be better for the other viewers.
I think we have it extra hard, and I'll tell you why, and I know you know this already, but because a lot of American filmmakers and people who don't film, like, I guess, Bahrain or Jewish weddings or Russian weddings or like immigrant weddings, I guess you could say, we need to film everything. Everything. From the beginning of when she's putting her makeup on to the end when they're cutting the cake, obviously.
Everything.
Every single thing needs to be filmed. And that's the issue, right? Is because you don't have room for failure. You don't have room for a mistake.
It only takes one shot. That's it. You have one shot.
You only have one chance to get it right, and that puts a lot of pressure on a person. That puts a lot of stress on a person, and that's why, unfortunately, a lot of people who are the bosses of these jobs, they unfortunately pass away very early, and I've seen it be a trend because it's very stressful because clients will eat you. They will eat you.
Yeah, no, there are a few people that died in our industry about this, God rest their soul.
God rest their soul. And so I just wanted to add the fact that many times American filmmakers won't have a documentary style per se. They will have a film where you kind of have room for error in some parts, where like one of my shooters during a party is taking a break, and the crane is like also, and in my shot is on a long lens, and sometimes it's not always steady. It's like, what do I do?
In this business, one person at a time could take a break. Not even, like, you need to communicate with the other videographers on your team where to go, and like if you, let's say you want to have a bathroom break, okay, you could have a bathroom break. You want a water break, fine, but one at a time, because if one person two people leave, you're in the dust. You can't,
because it has to be a consistent for 3-4 hours of dancing consistently. There's a crazy story that I have. I don't know if I should share it.
Share it.
One time I was at a job and the wedding had ended, so we were getting ready to pack up, and you know how sometimes musicians will continue playing? So one guy decides to come up to my coworker and with force and vengeance is like, why aren't you shooting my favorite singer? He's like, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you shooting him? Mind you, the wedding is done. 14 hours, 15 hours are complete. You know what I mean? I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my back at the end of the night. Whatever. Let's just like forget about that.
They're drunk, by the way, so you should know.
No, but they came up to him like face to face, and it was like, they must have been drunk or something. I'm not sure, but they were like, why aren't you shooting the singer? And I have a lot of love for this coworker. Okay, lots of love for him. And so I go to him and I go to his face and I'm like, what's your problem? I was like 18 or 19, so I had like a short fuse. I would never do that now. So then he looked at me and he's like, and then he walks away. So yeah, no, at the end of it, we almost got into a brawl.
Wow. How was that experience like?
Empowering.
It felt great?
It felt good because, I don't know, maybe he respects women. He listened to me. My coworker was a man, an older man, and he treated him with such disrespect, and I thought it was just so disgusting. And it's like, give us a break.
Yeah, because we're literally working with you 16 hours without break. If only people knew what we go through for 16 straight hours.
And the same guy, my coworker, did his whole wedding and like gave him like such a good deal and like gave him free things too and treated him so well. And maybe there was just something wrong with him. I'm not sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, videographers in this industry, and I know people don't give a flying about what I'm going to say. People in this industry, videographers, photographers, we're in this industry for 16 hours every single wedding. Literally from 9 a.m. all the way to 1 a.m., sometimes 2 a.m. without breaks. The only breaks that we have is driving in our cars, eating at the same time while we're on our way to the venue.
Yeah.
It is not human to work 16, 17 hours straight without break.
What's your snack?
My snack?
Yeah, what's your car snack?
My car snack would be power bars.
Mine is sosiski. Like the smoked kind.
Smoked kind. Oh, I love those.
Yeah, those are good.
The smoked sausages.
My dad nuts. He eats nuts. Yeah. Fire.
Regardless, we don't have a proper meal in the car. We literally drive at least an hour to the venue because we're usually driving from a very, very far away place to take pictures. So please respect the people that you hire for videography and photography because we barely have breaks.
I almost got eaten by the crowd at a wedding I recently worked at because the mosh pit was so aggressive.
Oh yeah, those mosh pits can get very intense, especially at religious weddings where they all jumping down, up and down the circles all the time. I recently got crushed a few times as well. Recently at a wedding, it was I think it was not a Hasidic, it was an Orthodox wedding. Oh my God, I literally thought I was in a metal concert because that was the worst experience that I had to date because I could not film. I literally thought my camera was gonna break. They literally pushed and shoved me like 6-7 times. I could not take it. I left the crowd. I couldn't take it. It gets intense.
It gets really intense.
It gets really intense. They jump around dancing, so respect to all our people. I love all you people in the music, but sometimes you get too aggressive with the dancing. You get too aggressive.
Yeah, that happened to me, and like my headphones were like falling off, and then the what's it called? The baraban?
The doira?
The doira guy was trying to save me to like come out of it, and I was getting like sucked into it, and like I was about to see the light.
All right, so our next and final question, truth or shot, pick your poison. Our next question is, who is your favorite photographer in the industry?
I knew it.
You can. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's hard to answer that question.
Can I say my actual answer and take the shot?
Listen, that's part of the rules. You either take a shot or you tell the truth. There is no other or. Cheers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this week's episode of The Raw Lens. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to follow Visuals by Zara. Stay tuned.